This Trundle jungle guide will teach you everything you need to know to easily take Trundle up to high platinum ELO. The summary of the video can be seen on the screen, and the guide will also include 6 essential Trundle tips and mechanics that are basic at the start but become more complex and lesser known towards the end. Firstly, let's briefly talk about his strengths and weaknesses. Trundle's strengths are that he is a strong early game dueler, allowing him to contest camps and win jungle skirmishes. He can have extremely strong ganks when the mechanics mentioned in the upcoming ganking portion of this guide are used. And finally, he is extremely strong against tanks due to his ultimate. Trundle's one main weakness is that he is extremely vulnerable to high DPS champions such as Yi, and is also very prone to kiting champions such as Vayne. These are the most common runes in Trundle, as they not only increase his dueling power, but also significantly increase his damage from ganks. For skill max Q first for damage, then W, and lastly E. You want to rush Tiamat as this will significantly increase your clear speed, then finish your Cinderhulk and then go for a Dead Man's Plate. A Dead Man's Plate is a very solid item on Trundle as it allows him to move around the map a lot faster. To finish off, you can build a variety of tank items on Trundle, such as Spirit Visage if they have a lot of AP damage, or Thornmail if they have a lot of on-hit champions such as Tristana and Yi. If someone on your team is carrying or you know will carry late game, such as a Vayne or a Kassadin, you can opt for a support Trundle build. This includes buying items such as Knight's Vow and Zeke's Convergence. However, only get these items if your support is not getting them, as they do not stack. You can also buy a Redemption as well, due to the fact that Trundle gets increased healing when he stands on his W, so it is actually quite a good item for yourself as well as your team. Trundle's early pathing focuses on abusing his strong dueling and ganking potential. However, you have to clear your camps at the optimal speed. This is where tip number 1 applies, using Trundle's Q as an auto attack reset. Instantly use Trundle's Q after an auto attack to increase your DPS and increase your clear speed. This will only take a few tries to get the hang of it. If you are starting blue side, starting at the top of the map, you want to path to whichever lane is most gankable. If you have a CC bot such as a Nautilus or a Leona on your team, and the enemy bot lane is a mobile such as a Jhin and a Soraka, you will start red, then take blue and Gromp, then go bot. This will ensure that you are level 3. If top lane will be easier to gank, start blue, then do Grob, red, then finally gank top. Alternatively, if the enemy jungle is something like a Kayn or an Echo and will start at red and do a full clear, you can do blue, Gromp, then red, and then instantly head to their blue. There you can kill their enemy jungle, take their blue and obtain a lead. If you are on the red/bottom side of the map, do red, blue, Gromp, then gank top. If you know that the enemy jungle is going to their red, you can fight them there if you are stronger than them. Now that we understand how to path on Trundle, let's talk about ganking. Ganking as Trundle is relatively easy to accomplish, however there are a few tips that can ensure your success. Tip number 2, hold your pillar. If you can get behind the enemy, don't use your pillar, resist the urge to shaft them and instead bite them instead. Trundle's Q applies a slow, so just use this to slow them and auto attack them. Only use your pillar once they have used their mobility, flash, or when they are out of auto attack range. Tip number 3, place W behind them. Place Trundle's W behind the enemy as you are ganking them, as it increases your movement speed, allowing you to chase them down better. Tip number 4, pillar behind them. Obviously, you should obstruct enemies fleeing by pillaring behind them, but you can also knock them towards you by pillaring only slightly behind them as seen in the clip. Another important tip is to use Trundle's pillar to cancel enemy channels such as Fiddle Ult, Zack's jump, and also recalls. It can also be used to cancel mobility spells such as Camille E, and can be placed on Thresher's Lantern to stop people from taking it. Teamfighting with Trundle is pretty basic. What you want to do is use your ult to drain resistances from the tank of their team, and as a result make yourself tankier. You can also attempt to pillar behind their ADC to prevent them from kiting back. You do not however want to just go ape onto their ADC, as they will normally have peel and be able to just kite and kill you. Instead, just focus on attacking the mages and tanks on the team, as they typically will not be able to kite you as easily. This next tip is probably the most essential tip for teamfighting and fighting in general. Tip number 6, use your ult on aftershock champions. Since Trundle's ult steals resistances from enemies, if these enemies proc their aftershock, their resistances will increase by a significant amount. So, if you ult them while their aftershock is active, you not only gain these incredible resistances for 4 seconds, but you also make them even squishier than normal. This is because when you ult them with aftershock, you drain an astronomical amount of resistances, but you will continue to drain such high resistances even when the enemy's aftershock runs out. As a result, they end up having almost no resistances. For example, when I ulted a Rammus who had procced Aftershock, my armor went from 70 to 270, meaning I stole 200 armor from the Rammus, making him very squishy. This tip doesn't only apply to Aftershock users, but also any champion whose abilities increase their resistances, for example, Leona W and Sejuani passive. If you have any questions relating to this guide, let me know down in the comments below and I'll get back to you ASAP. If you found this video useful, liking it would be much appreciated, and if you want more guides like this, feel free to subscribe.